Chauncey Billups, who was the Finals MVP last year, along with Hamilton in the backcourt. Reggie for Indiana. Jamal Tinsley back to the playoffs after he was injured.
To his career, and the fact that O'Neal once promised Miller that he would get him back.
And that is, of course, the overriding subplot of this game tonight. Miller coming to the end of an 18-year career, and the decision appears to be final. Indiana controls the opening tip, and here we go. Bennett Salvador, Bill Spooner, Ken Maurer are the officials tonight here in Game 6, with the two teams split Games 3 and 4. They work it inside to O'Neal. In and out on the first shot of the game. Hamilton gets the rebound for Detroit.
Now Detroit, very patient. They run a lot of baseline action. They're getting 5 players in double figures.
And very balanced scoring throughout the playoffs, throughout the regular season. Shot clock is down to 4. Chauncey Billups up and over the glass, Indiana ball.
Now we have 2 excellent half-court defensive teams here. They challenge, they force you, they intimidate you, and 2 excellent shot-blocking ball clubs. Detroit averaging almost 8 a game, and then also you have Indiana with 6, so they erase a lot of mistakes.
So Larry Brown, second year in Detroit, Hall of Famer underneath Davis, has it blocked, taken away. Big Ben Wallace all over the place underneath.
I'm glad we're talking about shot blocking, because you can see it right there, the value. Not only one guy, there were 2 guys right on top of Dale Davis. In the regular season game, that might have been a dunk now.
Inside, they work it inside to Wallace, he misses. Rebound comes off to Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah, this is a night where you've got to get it out and get it up. You must free up Steven Jackson and Reggie Miller. They are both, you're really hampered by the lack of catches.
Tinsley to O'Neal and then back out to Tinsley. Shot clock at 7. O'Neal against Rasheed Wallace, and a fall away for the first points of the game.
Yeah, they need O'Neal to get off to a good start, Al. He's struggling, you know, throughout this series. He's only shooting 35%. As the game goes on, his percentages have dropped because they alternate the Wallace boys in defense.
And Tayshaun Prince gets fouled on his way to the basket.
You have 2 outstanding defensive players in the Wallace boys. You have the 7-footer right here, Rasheed, who puts pressure on your shot. Then you have Ben Wallace with the upper body strength, who is knocking you off your spot. They give you 2 different types of look.
Prince at the line for Detroit's first point. Jermaine O'Neal, despite the low shooting percentage and not having a good series overall, has actually played his best basketball in the first quarter. It's been diminishing returns for him. They can't get away with that tonight. 2-2.
And they'd also need right here for Tinsley to be able to open up. Now, he came back after a bad foot injury, but they need him to get into the paint.
Reggie Miller. Appropriately, Indiana, its first lead, thanks to Reggie Miller, who spent his entire career as an Indiana Pacer. Prince off the high screen from Wallace, back outside. 4 on the shot clock. Billups, 1 dribble and then misses. And the rebound is tapped to Tinsley.
Yeah, look up now. You have Reggie in the other corner.
They don't see him. Instead, the shot is taken by O'Neal from just inside the foul line, and the Pacers are up to a 4-point lead.
Now, speaking to Rick Carlisle, look, we got out on a fast start in games 4 and 5. We're hoping to do that again tonight, but when you play Detroit, it's tough to keep it up for 48 minutes.
Prince missing. 3 minutes into the game, Tinsley will slow it up. Detroit now over his first 4, and Reggie Miller gets free underneath. His second field goal.
That's one of the very few easy shot opportunities for Miller in this series. He's only getting 10 shot attempts, but Hamilton and Reggie are really doing an excellent job in defending one another.
Pistons start ice cold. 0 for 5.
Yeah, but you like what they're doing now on Indiana. 1 shot attempt, that's it.
O'Neal can't get it to drop. Rasheed Wallace off the glass.
When you're playing uphill at playoff time, by playing a team that is favored, you've got to take advantage of easy opportunities.
Steal underneath. So the Pistons do not have a field goal in the first 4 minutes of the game. Indiana's up by 6. Tinsley gets it back outside. O'Neal, 10-2.
Al, just that little penetration by Tinsley. He takes it down inside, he kicks it back. O'Neal opens up.
When Rick Carlisle, now the Indiana coach, is in Detroit, then he leaves. Larry Brown becomes the Detroit coach, and Carlisle comes here, and the Pistons still haven't hit a shot from the field.
I like it, the guards for Indiana doing a nice job coming back in and picking up those loose balls that are coming out.
Tinsley, 10 points for Indiana. O'Neal has 6 of them. Reggie Miller has the other 4. Wallace can't get it. And then the other Wallace, after the first tip doesn't go, puts it in, and it's 1 out of 8 for the Pistons from the field, 10-4. Miller, hanger from the lane.
Now that was a high degree of difficulty, Al. He came off a baseline stagger screen. That means back-to-back screens. Ran a tough curl. Did not have a shot. Manufactured that by just laying back.
Hamilled into the hoop. Doesn't get the bounce. Wallace can't put it back in.
There you go. Here you go. 3-on-2 here.
Tinsley looking toward Reggie. Sets him up outside, but Prince gets there to contest it. Jackson, Steven Jackson from the baseline.
It's good to get him going, because you know he's a streak player. On that previous fast break out by Tinsley taking it to the left side of the floor, he missed Jackson wide open up on the right-hand corner.
Steven Jackson has been their leading scorer in the playoffs. Halfway through the opening quarter, Hamilton gets free off the screen at the shot clock expiration, and there is Rasheed Wallace living underneath another offensive board, 14-6.
Good timeout by Larry Brown. He talked about the fact that they were only getting 1 shot attempt. What happened after the timeout? Bam, bam. They picked up 3 offensive boards.
And then miscommunication there. Miller curling one way, Tinsley's throwing it the other, and Detroit takes it on the turnover. Larry Brown, who missed some games earlier in the season, had hip surgery, and because of complications from that, had to miss a lot of games in March and going into April. Hamilton. 4 on the shot clock. Big Ben. Tinsley with a rebound. These teams, I mean, you're talking about matching up 2 teams that take the shot clock down a lot because of great defense on the other side. These are the 2.
Well, there'll be plenty of movement, Al, at both ends of the floor. The offenses are geared to come run at least 3 or 4 options.
That's Chauncey Billups. Set it up again outside. Hamilton guarded by Miller. Prince gets free. O'Neal with a rebound.
Detroit getting good looks, Al. They take the ball whenever they move in transition, and they declare a side of the floor. You notice they'll bring it back to the top of the circle and swing it opposite.
Tinsley got a good look on the 3. Detroit getting good looks, but nothing's going down. They are 2 for 14 at this point in the game.
As long as you're getting good looks when you're on the road, you know, you have to have faith in your guys.
Wallace missed, but the back tap comes outside, and that's knocked down by Billups.
That's what we talked about at the top of the show. The second shot attempt in games 4 and 5. I like what Larry Brown had to say when he coached this team, the Indiana Pacers. His statement about Reggie, the best shooter that I've ever seen. Ooh, that covers a lot of ground.
Yes, it does. Jackson missing the shot here. Rebound off to Wallace.
Excellent timeout by Rick Carlisle. He had to clear up the offensive rebounding, especially by Rasheed Wallace. He's already picking up 3 in the early going.
Thanks to Anthony Johnson and Jeff Foster in the game, and the rebound comes off here to Steven Jackson. Foster, number 10, had a phenomenal rebounding performance. Reggie's open behind the arc. Missing here. Ben Wallace skies for the rebound.
Yeah, that time Foster should have picked up an offensive foul. He stepped out and nailed Hamilton and put him on the floor.
3 minutes to go in the period. Hamilton. So from 14-6 to 14-11, 5 straight Detroit points.
And, you know, if you're a young fellow out there and you're a shooting guard, just watch Reggie Miller and Hamilton working against one another defensively. Watch the effort that they put just to get a catch, an open catch here tonight.
Miller. Foster came out to create the partial screen, and Reggie got free.
Well, Reggie's got that medium range game, which a lot of young players today do not have. Forget the fact that he shoots it well behind the three and taking it to the hole. It's that 8 to 12 foot game where he is really dangerous.
8 points in the period for Reggie Miller. 6 on the shot clock. In and out for Rasheed Wallace. Anthony Johnson up ahead to O'Neal for the basket.
Hey, that's there tonight, Al. Now, that's the 3rd time that they pushed it early, and they've had numbers. That time, 4 on 3. Just keep pushing and force Detroit to give you their best transition defense.
Reggie Miller and Jermaine O'Neal have 16 of Indiana's 18 points tonight. Hamilton, again, that shot clock going all the way down again. Hamilton.
That's one of the toughest shots that we have in basketball. That mid-range shot on the baseline, halfway between the basket and the sideline. And we have 2 great ones here tonight. Reggie Miller and Hamilton knocked that down at a high percentage.
Earlier in the series because, quote, I'd rather play in pain than not be able to move. I asked him what moves hurt it the most, and he said everything. He says originally it was a confined contusion to the middle of that calf, but now the blood is actually traveling down the leg, which is making it more painful. I confirmed that with team athletic trainer Mike Abdenauer, and that's exactly what's happening to that contusion in the calf, guys.
And he'll have very little time to rest. He wants to get out of this series. They go to Miami, or the winner of the series will. Speaking of contusions, of course, you've got Shaq with a thigh contusion, and we'll see about him when play resumes with the Heat. Johnson misses the first of the 2. NBA playoffs continuing. Games coming up Sunday on ABC at 3 Eastern time. There'll be a game. It'll either be a game 7 in the West or a game 1 in the West. To be determined. Meanwhile, we had 1 foul in the game in the first 10 and a half minutes and 2 fouls in about the last 4 seconds. Indiana has a foul to give now. Detroit does not as the period winds down. This is Carlos Arroyo who's come into the game. Member of the Puerto Rican Olympic team that knocked off the United States. This is McDyess off the bench. What a difference he's made for Larry Brown this year.
Now, McDyess has been a monster, and they rotate to 3 players, the 2 Wallace boys and McDyess at power forward and center. But Arroyo, in his last 2 games, has really come in off the dribble, finding people out and making the game easy.
Foster follows, gets the offensive rebound, and Foster puts it in.
Now, that's what they need. They need Foster and Dale Davis to get up on the glass. We know that Jermaine O'Neal is hurting in that shoulder, and, you know, he's got to pick his spots whenever he goes in there when we have a lot of congestion in the painted area.
Arroyo gets it as it comes back out. Into the corner he goes. There's 5 on the shot clock and knocks it down.
You must pay attention to Arroyo. He can put numbers up. A year ago when he played for Utah, he did an excellent job during the season and at playoffs. You have to remember now, he can shoot a solid percentage for you. He's not necessarily a distributor on every possession.
Another great acquisition by team president Joe Dumars, who has really built this team. He's built a championship team, and then he goes out and gets the other parts. And Detroit will have the opportunity for the last shot of the period, but instead they on a fast break. Why not? Who cares about the clock at that point? Prince makes it a 2-point game.
Great shot blocked by Ben Wallace at the other end. Transition, Arroyo finding the trailer.
And Johnson goes down, and Johnson in the opening period. And Arroyo will take the shot from outside and not get it. Die for Indiana. Detroit trying to move on and avoid a 7th game. Indiana started out hot, but now Detroit finished up 15-7.
They adjust as the game moves on. Their defense gets tougher and tougher as you move through the quarter. That's why they rank first or second in all of the major categories defensively that we have for all playoff games.
Arroyo came over from the Utah Jazz in midseason. Shot clock at 3. Tayshaun Prince from the corner. Anthony Johnson, AJ, working off the high screen, gets it back to O'Neal. Jones in the game for the first time. Flips it over to O'Neal in the corner. And Jermaine knocks one down. Freddie Jones with the assist.
If Jones and Johnson can get into the lane off the dribble, it will open up all kinds of 10 to 15-foot jump shots for O'Neal. And that's what's needed right now, so that O'Neal consistently does not have to bang in the low post area.
Detroit milking every possession.
There you go.
A common sound in this game. You hear the 24-second buzzer.
Well, both teams are very well schooled. Excellent defense. And then they're going to intimidate you because they're going to rough you up physically.
Jones got free, couldn't cash. Pacers by 4. Ben Wallace, Foster on him. Sets it up for Hamilton, bingo.
Right now, see, Jones lost his man. You cannot turn your head when your man is Hamilton. You have to stay right in his chest, and then when he's coming off the strings, you're right behind him, because if you shoot the gap, he's going to fade on you.
Foster for the slam dunk.
Everything off the dribble so far out for Indiana has been a major plus. Opening up the big men moving in the paint, or then also for that little 10 to 12-foot jump shot.
Prince gets doubled. Arroyo. Rebound to O'Neal.
You must be careful now, because on your pitch outs, Ben Wallace will hang in the backcourt and try to disrupt, because, you know, he's excellent in stealing the ball.
Johnson gets the assist. O'Neal bangs it down, and Larry Brown gets off the bench and says, pick up the pace.
It's just good. I'm happy for Jermaine O'Neal, because we said at the top, he's got to come out of the funk, and he's definitely meeting the challenge here tonight. Everything is in the bottom of the net.
And then Hamilton throws it off. McDyess's hands, and the crowd erupts with Indiana up by 6, 3 minutes. Over the last 3 games, Jermaine O'Neal has averaged for the game 10.7. He gets ball tonight, and that's Jones.
It's there. You just have to take advantage of it.
Freddie Jones, 3rd year out of Oregon, has electrified this crowd. These folks don't want this to be the last game in this ballpark this season.
Yesterday, I sat down with Jermaine O'Neal to do an interview about this game, about the season, about his relationship with Reggie Miller. And Jermaine could not finish the interview. He became emotionally overcome about 3 questions in when talking about Reggie Miller and their relationship and how influential Miller has been in his career. He said he had actually promised Miller after he was traded here, after O'Neal was traded here, that he would get him back to the NBA Finals. He said, in this series, I haven't been playing well. I haven't been shouldering my burden, no pun intended. I want to get him back to the finals. I haven't done it yet. Seems, Alan Hughes, as though he's taking a lot of responsibility and responding with 12 points here in the first half.
You know, I watched that interview, and I thought of you as Lorraine Bracco, Michelle. But he came out of it okay, and he's playing great tonight.
Well, he's 6 for 9 from the field. And he's looking for the shot, and you can see that the follow-through is there, so the shoulder in the early going not bothering him.
Now the other Jones, Freddie Jones has been in the game, and now you've got James Jones, second year out of Miami, dropping one in.
Now they've been starving for this after games 4 and 5 for the bench to come in, put up some quality points, and give the necessary rest to the first group.
This equals the largest lead in the game.
Oh!
Phillips softly.
Oh, that was a miraculous type of a shot. They might have even gotten away by dragging that pivot foot. Excellent move, though, by Johnson.
Jones lays it from Foster, and another slam dunk.
Now that takes timing. When you come off like that and go up in the air and throw a blind pass. Foster now is 3 for 3 moving without the ball, Al. They have found him every time going to the rim.
John Brent's getting ready to come back into the game at the next stop. Wallace, he drops one.
Well, he's getting the opportunities. In the early going already, Rashid has 8 shot attempts. He's now 3 for 8. What I like about it, the majority of the shots are all down below the foul line.
James Jones, Foster outside. O'Neal going to work on McDyess. Lost it, he got it back. Oh, beautiful.
Hey, everything's going my way tonight. There's no doubt about that. He's looking at all this in the basket. Looks like the Atlantic Ocean in the early going.
And he's 7 out of 10. And now McDyess drops one in.
McDyess has had a solid year. We know that he has been the pivotal guy here in this rotation at power forward and center. He shot 51% from the floor, was in the top 13 shooters.
8-point Indiana lead. Indiana trying to force a 7th game, which will be played in Auburn Hills, Michigan on Sunday. Freddie Jones. Prince lets it go out of bounds.
I'm still waiting out for Tinsley to go all the way here tonight. You know, he's pulling up a little bit below the foul line and looking too many times to kick the ball back.
And he has no points. Phillips drops that. Remember, Tinsley was hurt. He missed 40 games. He had the bruised foot. And Rick Carlisle was good to see Sam Hornish on the way as Reggie Miller knocks down a three-pointer to make it 38-29. So Miller comes back into the game. And on the Sam Hornish thing, a lot of you saw that wreck last week during practice where the front end of the car went up and over. And that's why I say it's good to see Sam here tonight. Nice works it back down. One on the shot clock, knocks it down.
Anytime that they kick out and the shot clock is down, Chauncey Phillips is behind that three-point line, you must close him out and force him to put the ball down on the floor because he's looking for the three.
Steven Jackson's been pretty quiet. Back tap and it comes out to Tayshaun Prince. Pacers up by 6. Going to work inside, down below. Rasheed Wallace. Hunter from outside the arc. Pistons still get it. Reggie Miller says there should be a foul on Wallace. Then it Salvador says, and the rebound comes to Jermaine O'Neal.
You have an advantage there.
Tinsley lays it behind Jackson, but he recovers. Gets tripled, loses the ball. Hunter to Phillips off the glass. Yeah.
People are upset. They thought that they should have had a foul at both ends of the floor. That's not the case. I'm surprised that Tinsley did not shoot that ball out because he was almost inside the defensive circle.
And then the pass was thrown behind him, and you've got another turnover right now. Detroit on the run. And Hunter gets fouled as Tinsley reached in.
No, don't throw the ball there. Keep yourself under control. You're ahead by 4 points right now. You're getting a little exasperated. But when defensive teams have that notoriety in the league for physical play, and they get a piece of the ball, you are not going to get the hand or the arm when they get a piece of the ball. It will depend upon the angle that the referee has. You've got to play right through this because Detroit is a physical club, night in and night out, and everyone knows that they go for the shot block and the steal.
Very good use of the word notoriety, which sometimes people use in a positive sense. You know it's a negative connotation. Very good.
Right.
I'm so proud to be working. Indiana up by 4. Tinsley's going to get a rest. And then Reggie Miller gets tangled up and they call a foul on Hamilton.
Yeah, that was an excellent call. Excellent call. Hamilton definitely pushed Reggie Miller off. Reggie was right up on top. This is a cat fight between Miller and Hamilton. It's just beautiful. I think you'd like to zero in and just watch them for the full 48 minutes, how hard they work.
And there's that pairing, and Reggie loses the ball.
And now Indiana, come on, you got to get shots at the basket because Detroit has shifted gears defensively.
Phillips backs all the way in and scores from the lane.
Now, this guy is an in-your-face pressure shooter. Yeah, he was quiet in that first quarter, but now he's on a roll. He's feeling good right now. Rash of turnovers now. For a quarter and a half, you paid attention and you maximize your possession. So please, zero in here now.
Steven Jackson. And that's what they need. They're going to need Jackson to be their leading scorer in the playoffs to get hot here. Steven Jackson with 4 points.
Now, he's a street shooter. They get it to him. He'll get going, and he's a guy that can do it for them off the dribble also.
Prince. Jackson staying with him. Defensive 3 seconds.
Unfortunately, we have to tackle the subject of the collective bargaining agreement and the negotiations that just broke down quite abruptly. Why did they break down from your vantage point?
Well, they really broke down because a few weeks ago we thought we were very close to a deal, and since that time the union has backed away on about half a dozen different issues that we thought had been settled. So we're kind of uncertain of how to move forward now.
What is their explanation for backing away from those?
Well, they really haven't given us one. They've just said, well, we thought about it, and now we don't want to do what we previously said we would do.
And among those issues, what is the most pertinent?
Well, I think from the owner's standpoint, it has to do with the length of individual contracts. We're anxious to see a shortening of what's now a 7-year contract that you can get. And we'd like to see that reduced somewhat. And originally the players told us they would do that, but now they've said that they're not willing to do it.
Cynics might say that this is nothing more than negotiations and posturing. How serious is this?
No, I think it's serious. We wouldn't be doing this except that we had to come up with and explain why we're not having any meetings right now. It's not something that we're happy about. We'd rather be progressing toward a new deal.
And of course, fans are saying after what happened with the NHL most recently, boy, the NBA isn't going to repeat that, is it? How would you respond to those fans?
Well, we certainly don't want to see what happens in hockey. And, it happened for half a season in the NBA 6 years ago. So we know it's a bad thing. It's not something we want to happen. We're going to do everything we can to avoid it, but it's going to require some cooperation from the players as well.
Thanks so much for taking the time to talk about that. I hope you can enjoy the rest of this game.
We got a great series going, Michelle, so I tend to enjoy the game.
Thank you, Russ. Al?
All right, thank you, Michelle. You'll be pretty soon the only sport left that they'll be playing is poker.
Yeah.
And then they'll unionize. I'm all in. Indiana up by 3, 1:53. Detroit has not had the lead. Larry Brown has not seen his team on top at any point in the game. And the quarters have been similar because Indiana led in the first quarter 14-4. Detroit almost caught up. They led 35-25 here. And then Detroit's almost caught up again. Reggie Miller finds the open spot. Three-pointer.
Oh, he's got it right now. He has the feel. There's no doubt about it. Now remember, he came into this series 5 for 24 in threes, 21%, an all-time low for him. But tonight, he has the stroke.
Minute and a half remaining, opening half. Prince works the baseline, foul before he gets it up. Back to Reggie Miller. Let's take a look again here.
Now just watch. Now there's your first, there's your second screen. Excellent ball fake. And then fading to the left from behind the three-point line.
All-time leader in three-pointers, crowd chanting his name. On that last play, by the way, O'Neal went down on the baseline. And when Steven Jackson tried to get him up with the right hand, O'Neal said, no.
Oh, you know that, Al. Yeah. That right shoulder, he missed 22 games. He came back. Now he's trying to be a warrior about all this and suck up the pain. So you have to be careful. That's why we say, in traffic, you know, he might be a little bit of a liability.
That's a two-pointer. (45-37), under a minute to play. Indiana fighting to extend its season. Send it to a game 7. Offensive.
The floor. I'll just keep an eye on Jermaine here now. There it is. Definitely the left elbow came back, caught Jermaine right with the lip.
They're going to change. Reggie Miller's last shot was changed to a 3 after it was initially signaled as a 2.
Yeah, Bill Spooner changing his call. Running Reggie every time down off of 2 screens. We call that staggered screen, and he's really up for it tonight. He's exploding as he's coming off and freeing himself.
O'Neal working on Big Ben. Turned around. Shot clock is off. Prince with the rebound. Pistons play into the final shot. Phillips. Block.
Dribble. Oh,
He fell asleep. Prince got free. Boy, did they ever. Tayshaun Prince cuts through the paint.
I love what Chauncey Billups did, and he read that perfectly, and he kept the ball without Prince to make that move, Al.
So the Indiana Pacers trying to stay alive, trying to make sure it's not Reggie Miller's last game.
Look, they're playing great, Al.
Thank you, Michelle, as you take a look at Wallace, Rasheed, and O'Neal, and here we go.
We said 2 keys now for Indiana. They only have 5 turnovers in this half, and also only giving up 5 second shot attempts. Now that's big because Detroit is shooting a very poor 41%.
Hamilton starts with a deuce here to turn it into a 5-point game.
Now this is the guy who's been quiet, Al. You know, right now he's 4 for 7, but he has not had an awful lot of looks. And we know that he can light it up in a hurry.
And the other guy's been quiet for Detroit is Ben Wallace. No points. He had 19, did Ben Wallace the other night. Jackson missing. Ben gets the rebound. Larry Brown wants it. You can see him from time to time that first half to try to pick up the pace. I mean, Michelle talking about that shot clock has gone down to 2 and 1 on a number of occasions. Hamilton. And Hamilton is 2 for 2, and it's a 3-point game.
That's what happens when you switch. When you switch out and Reggie Miller is off and you have a big man on Hamilton, he will keep his dribble, Al. And if you notice, he came out there 2 bounces, stretched the defense, shot it right in his face.
Miller.
He definitely did not towel off at halftime.
No, 8 out of 10 from the field is the wondrous one. 18 years old with 1 team. Rasheed Wallace. From the baseline. Drops that one. So 2 by Hamilton, 1 by Rasheed. 48-45.
Now, that was a tough shot, Al. Jermaine O'Neal was all over Rasheed, and he was right up in there challenging that release.
Tinsley gets it back. Jermaine O'Neal missing. Tap back up. Out of bounds. Indiana ball, fresh clock.
Yeah, you get a break there. Dale Davis kept that alive on the first deflection to get the ball up in the air. Right now, Tinsley really gingerly walking, handling the ball, not looking to explode. Anytime that he gets down below the foul line area, he's looking to kick the ball out immediately.
In 40 games, he missed. Bruised foot, came back for the playoffs. Steven Jackson. Prince knocks it away. They talk about length. You saw it right there, reaching in. Here's Miller. Reggie misses. Rasheed Wallace off the glass. Hamilton, he's been hot. Ben Wallace gets his first basket of the night.
Now that.
To an observer, the big fight, everybody knows about that front page story in November, but this team took a monstrous hit. Ron Artest, great player, defensive player of the year last year, suspended for the season. As Indiana with the ball here, here's Jackson getting it outside to Tinsley as the shot clock winds down. And a two-pointer there for O'Neal. And then Steven Jackson was suspended for 30 games. Jermaine O'Neal was suspended for 25, had to reduce to 15. Anthony Johnson suspended for 5. They've had injuries around, around the clock. After that game in Detroit, they had 6 guys, 6 healthy players the next night for a game against Orlando. And everybody said Pacers dead. And then they wind up getting it together and winding up in the second round of the playoffs.
Now, they missed 435 games with suspensions and injuries. They made the playoffs for the 8th straight year. 15 out of the last 16 years. That's what Donnie Walsh is all about. He understands how, when they lose players, how to get players to come in and fit in the chemistry of the style of play of whoever is coaching this team.
Here's Prince. O'Neal swatted it to Jackson.
Rick Carlisle has used his timeouts tonight wisely. He's tried to stop the immediate runs. Out of the timeouts, you love it when teams come out and then will run a burst. And they've been able to do that time and time again this season.
Miller to O'Neal. In and out. Saved by Jackson in the corner. He gets muscled down, knocked down. An inadvertent elbow from Rasheed Wallace, who helps him to his feet.
Great hustle by Steven Jackson here. You're just going to see it over in the huddle. Now watch this now as he picks it up. Good hustle. They're going to jam now. Hard foul. Hard foul. Easy call.
Yep. Dale Davis outside. Reggie Miller puts it up. Got it.
Reggie Miller is only averaging 10 shot attempts coming into this game tonight. And when you look at this, this is amazing. That was his 12th shot already, and he is just knocking the lights out.
9 out of those 12, 75% for him. Ben Wallace back to Hamilton, in and out, and then Rasheed can't jam it in one-handed. It keeps getting tipped by both Wallaces, and finally the foul.
This is what you do not want to see. You don't take away the offensive spurt here now. Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace just kept 3 alive. Now, they picked up the loose ball foul, but you have to say, they are working. They are working here right now. And right now, Indiana, Dale Davis, the pressure is on Dale Davis, Jermaine O'Neal. Steven Jackson's got to get in here and rebound now.
And you saw the reaction and the expression of Wallace. The technical foul is on Rasheed. Reggie Miller will drop that one. Take a look again at what happened here. Miller averaging a point a minute now.
You're going to see it here. They're working. See, only Jermaine O'Neal is in there. Yeah, there's the foul right there. They call a foul, and then you can see the reaction, and then whatever is said. Unfortunately for us, we are not privy to that. And we have the technical at the opposite end.
We can guess. Ben Wallace gets fouled on his way to the basket. Talking about Reggie Miller, a point a minute. Reggie has played 21 minutes tonight. He has 22 points.
Now this is a difficult shot because he's splitting 2 defenders and he's going right up and he's being challenged at the height of his release. Ben Wallace, you know they're going to foul him every chance they get there. Not going to let him dunk. They're going to try to prevent him from getting a layup, mainly because he's only shooting 42% on the line. So tonight he's going to make every foul shot.
So Reggie lobbying.
But you know that they are going to hammer him every time that he's within range of a dunk or a layup.
Tinsley to Davis, underneath and recovers. Dropped it for a moment, got it back, puts it in.
Now, excellent pass by Tinsley, thread a needle that time. Dale Davis was looking for a foul, Al.
Rasheed down low, spinning. Foul is called on Jermaine O'Neal.
Excellent move by Reggie. On that spin move, instead of just spin, he gave him a nice head fake. Now just watch the fake. You see, he'll give him a good fake right there, and here he comes down and he steps under. Jermaine anticipating that he was going to shoot the fadeaway, which he has attempted on every other possession of that area.
Wallace came over in a deal last year, and that was the big one. Detroit really cemented its opportunity, and they manifested it against the Lakers once they got Rasheed Wallace last season.
We had a rare stat at halftime now. Detroit attempted 3 foul shots, Indiana 2.
Yeah, especially with these teams and the way they play.
With so much body contact on drivers and on the shot.
There was only one foul called in the first 10 and a half minutes of the game. Steven Jackson finds the open lane and exploits it.
I'd like to see him do that more often. You can see the Wallace boys have got to stay on the floor for long periods of time. So they're not going to challenge you on every single attack to the rim because they do not want to get in foul trouble.
Phillips, clock all the way down, stolen by Indy. 8-point Pacer lead halfway through third quarter. Pistons have never led. From the corner, shot by Davis is short, fouls it himself.
Just take your time. They'll allow Davis to beat the outlet passer out on the opposite side of the floor. They'll force him to make that jump shot.
And Jackson tries to get it to O'Neal, and Tayshaun Prince steals it. And there it is right there. Baseball, a few. Basketball, just 2. Here's Hamilton coming out after the timeout to make it 59-53.
You are never safe when you play Detroit. Mainly because they can come at you in a hurry because they shoot a high percentage and they also defend so well. Larry Brown, in talking to us, we had an opportunity to win all 5 games in this series. We came back from double-digit minuses. So you know that they're accustomed to this.
Steven Jackson air ball.
Can't go to sleep now if you're Indiana. You got to continue to attack the downhill and paint. Go strong off the dribble.
Reach in here on Tinsley, and that's 4 to go with no points. Here's Michelle.
Well, during the last timeout, Larry Brown said to his team, we have to pick it up. We're on our heels. We're not guarding anyone until after they catch the ball. We've got to deny some of their passes. And the last thing he said to his team before they came back to the floor, look, guys, we've got more energy to give.
And they had a ton the other night, and Indiana came out flat, and then the Pacers come home. And tonight, Indiana has had more energy to this point. One out of 2 to make it a 5-point game. The WNBA season begins this week. The LA Sparks from Seattle, Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern on ABC.
You have the mismatch right here. Now you got to get it into O'Neal.
Jackson from outside the circle.
Yeah, that's bad. You had Prince on O'Neal. You had an opportunity to post them up in the low hole. You've got to make the pass. Hamilton all over Reggie. Great move.
Johnson finds Foster high off the glass.
Now that was a beautiful read and a great pass because the defender on Foster tried to help on Reggie on that curl. Beautiful pass.
Sneaked in along the baseline. Foster is 4 for 4. 8 points. 3:40 to go. Whistle away from the play. Defensive 3.
Now watch on this down screen. Watch out. Ben Wallace steps out. See, that opens up Foster on the move. Now, Foster has 4 field goals in this game. Every one of them moving without the ball on the baseline.
Like a thief in the night, sneaking it along the baseline, dropping it in. Defensive 3 seconds. Technical shot is good. 19 assists. Indiana. Good movement tonight, making it pay off, and a foul before Hamilton gets to the basket.
Hamilton has had a difficult time getting catches tonight. But in this quarter, he has opened it up. And Reggie is a little behind him now, so he's getting a clean look, and you can see the daylight. Now, this is one that can open it up on you. And we told you now, he is an excellent streak shooter.
Detroit into the bonus now in terms of going to the free throw line with 3.5 to go in the third period. Detroit has not had the lead. Indy extends, Detroit chips away. Paces extend again, Detroit chips away. They're chipping away again. It's a 4-point game.
I'd like to see Jermaine O'Neal get involved now. He has not had a touch in quite a while.
Yeah, that off is in hand from Miller. Reggie will get a rest. Most likely for the balance of the quarter. Getting fresh for the fourth. Taken away. Ben Wallace with the steal. Chauncey Billups. Prince spots up for 3. And it's 61-60 Indiana.
Well, Prince has been very quiet.
Looks great, not luxury box dominant, built vertically, great sight lines, terrific crowd. 61-60. Jackson to the hoop. Detroit, a chance to take the lead for the first time in the game.
See that relentless. You're going to play grind it out with them. They just wear you down.
Inbound. Hamilton had a block, but also gets fouled. To the line, he'll go. Makes them both. Detroit will have the lead.
Yeah, see, Rick Carlisle won in that situation. He thought he had a block. And more important, he thought it was a late whistle. And it's on the shot, not on the collision after the shot, where 2 guys go down like we're bowling for dollars.
So there's 11 point in the period and has it. And Detroit, for the first time tonight, leads. It was tied at 2-2. And then it was tied a minute ago after the first shot. And now you've got Billups out. Hunter is in. Foster spots up. He's free. Misses his first field goal attempt of the night. Tipped away, but Jermaine O'Neal gets it back.
Has a definite advantage. You know he will draw the double team. So you cannot continue to go away from him to guys who are going to shoot a low percentage.
And Jermaine has been limited to 2 points, 3 shots, but there is Foster getting free again.
Yeah, once again, the switch. And anytime you get that mismatch, Foster is moving to the rim now. Beautiful pass by Steven Jackson.
Indiana reassumes the lead. Loose underneath. The Dice can't handle it. Pacers come away with it. Jackson leaves it for Johnson. Steven Jackson gets it back.
He'll back him down here now. Force a double.
Yep, on Hunter. And now Johnson will drive to the hoop and send it back to Jermaine O'Neal. He's short there. Foster fought for the rebound, but taken away by Hunter.
Good break.
And Hunter throws it behind Tayshaun Prince. Time between the third and fourth quarters. Back in early, clearly in the fourth. Jermaine O'Neal gets up low for the moment. Johnson, he's going to leave it for Davis. Clock down to 5. Steven Jackson from downtown, no. 42 seconds.
They'll milk Hamilton.
Ben Wallace, 5 on the shot clock. Rimmed out. Foul.
Frustration. See, now just watch right here now as it rims around. See, he's going. Anytime that there's a miss, we brought the Southern Indiana on the foul line.
Davis. Pistons leading in the series 3-2. If they win, Miami is next. It would start in Miami. He misses both, so Detroit's going to wind up with a chance to have the lead at the end of the period. Mini differential game in shot clock. Hamilton. Can't get it to drop, but that'll do it for the period. They have 11 more points, but right now as we start the fourth quarter, and it's do or die for the Indiana Pacers, they're on top by 1. Reggie Miller is back in the game.
Big stat for Detroit in that quarter, Al. He got to the foul line 11 times.
O'Neal from Miller.
Oh, hello. Oh, great. We found him.
There he is.
Yes, and once again he scores. He's only 9 for 17. We must find him more often.
They better keep finding him more often. On O'Neal.
Once again, see the defense is moving to try to help out Reggie Miller on the dribble, trying to cut into the painted area. O'Neal has been open all night for that 15, 18-foot shot. Nice shot block. Nice shot by Foster. Boy, he's been active, Al. 5 for 6 from the field, 5 rebounds. He's doing an excellent job.
He's a guy you can't miss.
No. A great hustle.
Detroit creates a turnover. Hunter. And Dice. Foster guards him. Hunter, 3 for 3 and short.
You don't want to settle now. You don't want to settle and get in a half-court grind out in this fourth quarter. Every opportunity you get a chance to fast break, you fast break. Because if you notice, that's what Detroit has been doing in the second half.
Johnson is free for a three-pointer. Pacers who trailed briefly at the end of the third. Back up now by 6 points.
Big. When you're an offensive player and you're playing against a great defensive team, when that ball is kicked out to you, you got to be ready to catch and shoot.
Good drive by Hunter, putting it in high off the glass.
Yeah, Hunter has been very active in the minimum minutes that he played, first half and second half. Extremely active. He'll harass Johnson. Now Johnson cannot. There you go. You cannot level off. You level off, what will happen? The passing lanes will extend and allow Detroit to shoot the passing lane. So he must attack Hunter and not allow himself to pick up his dribble beyond the three-point line.
Reggie Miller inbounding. 14 on the clock as the pass comes in. Johnson from 18 feet. That won't go.
I'm surprised there. Lindsey Hunter was gambling. He went for the steal that time, but when you try to reach from the rear, you're going to open up the shot.
Rashid takes it from Ben and gets slammed to the court.
Yeah, but
foul on O'Neal.
Yeah, O'Neal went for the block. Yeah, we know O'Neal throughout the playoffs is averaging almost 2.5 shot block. You're going to see he's going to go strong here for the block right there. So anytime that you're going, it's not a deliberate foul, and he wasn't trying to hurt him.
Wallace at the line. Points now for Rashid.
Rashid very quiet now in the second and third quarters. Yeah, very few attempts. He was hardly involved in what they were doing from an offensive standpoint.
Hunter out, Phillips in. go. Fourth quarter. Wallace misses that. Foster takes it off the glass.
If you're Indiana, you've got to continue to work hard in holding Detroit to one shot attempt. They only have 9 offensive rebounds right now. This is a war. It's a war with Jermaine and Wallace. Wallace will contend, and anytime that you talk to a coach on the Detroit staff, they'll tell you that Rasheed Wallace is one of the best defenders in this league, and he's working hard right now.
And that's the third foul on Jermaine O'Neal. Nobody in the game for either team has more than 3.
Yeah, I like what they're doing here. Reggie switches off on Prince. Prince is taking Reggie right into the post. See, that's smart basketball. They isolate, they're looking to go inside. Well, Reggie's trying to play on the top side. Watch him now. See, he's going to try to deny the pass. But you can see he fouled him once, twice. You had a number of times that you could make the ball.
3 on Reggie Miller, so he's going to have a seat for the moment. A little over 9 minutes to play. Indiana already 18 fouls in the period, and Hamilton knocks one down.
Hamilton.
9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Reggie gassing up for the finish. And you got an offensive foul here on Jermaine O'Neal. And for Jermaine O'Neal, now that's 4 fouls. Tinsley also has 4.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle is really upset. He thought the contact happened after Tinsley had cleared the screen and was already in the painted area.
Hamilton gets doubled, has it taken out of his hands.
Beautiful coverage that time by Jeff Wall. How about this for a steal?
Yeah, but Steven Jackson throws it away, and Hamilton drives in and scores, and the Pistons are up by 1, 69-68.
This is where Detroit, see, they get out in the open floor. You've done an excellent job, Indiana. That's only your 10th turnover in this game. You just got to take precaution now, because Detroit will get out in the open floor and run a quick burst in the transition game.
Reggie Miller getting ready to come back in at the next whistle. O'Neal missing.
That's where they had that Prince on the switch, and he posted him up. I'm surprised that he went that far away from the basket, Al.
Under 8 left. Prince rolling away off the glass.
Oh, tough shot, Al. Difficult angle. Played the glass beautifully.
3-point lead. That's Detroit's biggest margin of the game. Shot clock at 7. Jones dribbling. Splits him. Gives it to O'Neal. Got it.
He is shooting such a high percentage on that 10 to 12-foot kick out when he's facing. He gets in a little bit of trouble when he tries to run the spin move on that fade shot.
Hamilton and that will turn it over.
Bennett Salvatore is saying that the ball was deflected.
It was deflected, and so the crowd wanted it to be a turnover. It wasn't in 73-70. O'Neal, reverse.
First time tonight. First time tonight, the total spin move on the baseline. Take it up and under on the other side so that the defender has no chance of blocking the shot.
Here's Billups. Floater. And Chauncey Billups puts Detroit up by 3 again at 75-72.
And he's the guy you have to pay attention to, Al. You cannot allow him to break the clock, break it down defensively when the clock is 6 seconds down. He loves the pressure, and he loves getting in the lane.
Billups at 17. Hamilton is running mate at 24. And O'Neal will go to the free throw line.
My body felt right. My mind felt right, and in the midst of the worst turmoil this franchise has ever seen, or at least that I've ever encountered, I was at peace. I never felt like that before. And guys, he has never wavered. This is it for him.
Michelle, and he has a house in Memphis. He doesn't want to go there tonight, though, I'll tell you that. He wants to go to Detroit on Sunday. Pacers 2 for 7 in the game from the line, but they'll keep possession.
And the interesting thing, Al, is that during the season, they're an 80% foul shooting team. They're an 80% foul shooting team throughout the playoffs. And tonight, 2 for 7.
2 for 7, and Detroit is 14 of 16 from the line. Air ball, Detroit ball.
Detroit, very smart, very patient. They'll run their sets. They'll exhaust Hamilton first.
And Hamilton dishes it off to Rasheed Wallace, and Big Ben is there for the rebound.
You cannot leak out. By that we mean the shot goes up, Indiana starts looking for the bend. No, all 5 guys have got to be below the foul line here.
Phillips gets fouled. Phillips now at the line, trying to extend the lead, which right now equals Detroit's biggest margin of 3. If Indy wins the game, Indiana wins the game, they go to Detroit on Sunday, as it's now a 5-point lead. And the game in Miami would be on a Wednesday, which would give Shaq and everybody else who needs to mend down there 11 days between games. They clinched it, the Heat, last Saturday. O'Neal. Wallace fights for the rebound. No whistle, takes it away. No foul.
You could not play a big man who is having a great night any better than Rasheed Wallace did right there. He played that spin move perfectly and then got the shot block out.
Prince lays it off for Rasheed. Big rebound by Steven Jackson. 4.5 to go. Tinsley throwing a blank tonight. Now he doesn't even hit the rim.
Are not in any kind of a flow. You're now 0 for 3 from the floor. You just don't come down in transition and shoot up the 3 when you have a 4-on-3 situation. You have to, seek it out and make it happen.
There's a guy who can shoot a 3.
And he's looking for the foul. He's looking and pleading for the foul.
Well, he's had a ton of 4-point plays, most in the history of the NBA in his career. He settles for 3 there, 77-74. Actually, it's a long 2 for him. 77-74. Phillips gets hit as he goes underneath, and it's an offensive foul charge. And that's 5 on him.
Now that was a sensational block without any body contact. And then off the block, then the offensive foul. Now keep an eye on this now. Now watch, there it is right there. Beautiful timing. All right, and then you get the offensive ball. Big thing right now, all right, they're taking Phillips out of the game and bringing Hunter in. Now you have to remember that Hunter is a 3-point shooter, and also that he's going to come after you from a defensive standpoint.
Reggie Hunter, 12th year in the league.
Pistons have only committed 3 fouls in this quarter.
Reggie, here's Tinsley. Can he get off the schneid? No, he can't. 3.5 to go. He extend Reggie Miller's career, or will Detroit win this series and head to Miami? 3.5 to go. Phillips, 5 on the shot clock. He's gonna have to launch it. He gets fouled by Johnson with 1 second on the 24.
Yeah, that's tough. The referees have been tough on that all year, Al. Yeah, with the hand checking. Just watch now as he goes. See, right there. See, he caught him with the forearm first, and that's why Phillips reacted to knock the hand away. That's tough. But then again, that's a mistake because the shot clock was down inside of 3 seconds.
Chauncey Billups, the 2 guards have done a lot of damage tonight. Hamilton has 24 points. Billups has 20 points. Rasheed Wallace has been held to 11, Prince 11, and Ben Wallace has 4. Miller O'Neal have been the guys for Indiana. Miller, 24. Jermaine, 22. Johnson. Jackson out. Reggie Miller. Hamilton was on him like a glove, and then Wallace comes in to double and commits the foul.
Now that's their fourth team foul, so you're taking it on the side. Now, if you've been noticing, Detroit, they're smart. They're double teaming, and they're allowing Foster to be the outlet high at the top of the circle. They know that Foster will not take that shot. So by the time he catches it and rotates it, the Detroit defense has already rotated, and they're matched up.
Fourth personal foul on Rasheed Wallace. Three-point attempt doesn't go for Jackson.
This is where Detroit's tough. They're not giving you a second shot attempt. They're going to hold you to one shot. Then they come up and they milk the clock. They do an excellent job with the pressure on. Here comes Hamilton.
5 on the clock. To Wallace with 3 on the clock. Big miss. Indiana needing a stop. Got it. 2:17 to play. Fourth period.
Reggie's down there like a pinball, just banging off the people.
He's underneath the basket. Shot clock is down to 6. Foster gets inside free.
That's because Rasheed Wallace stumbled and fell to the ground. The defense rotated quickly. Foster, very bright, went right to the rim now and caused that pass to be made.
Foster has 12 points. He's 6 out of 7 from the field. Phillips comes outside. Rasheed Wallace with a huge 3.
Now that's big. Phillips twice passed out at the post area. He was not comfortable. But then when you have a percentage shooter in the three-point range like Rasheed Wallace, did not hesitate.
Reggie Miller.
Oh, yes! Oh!
Reggie is 4 for 6 from three-point country, but his teammates are 1 for 10. And Johnson got a hand on it, and it will stay in Detroit's possession with 9 seconds on the 24.
9.
And they get it inside, then dish it back outside. Wallace is short. Tipped up, goes out. Detroit says it's their ball. Concurred.
Once again, Detroit hustling to keep the ball alive on their offensive board. Here it is. Just look at this. This is just outstanding hustle by Hamilton, and he knocks it off of Foster's leg. Now you have a new shot clock, 24 seconds.
11 offensive rebounds for Detroit.
They got to bring Prince off the curl right here.
Ticking down to a minute. Miller got a hand in, knocked it out of bounds.
Both teams are shooting the penalty right now. Detroit has 1 full timeout and a 20. Indiana, 2 full timeouts.
Final minute of the game. Hamilton.
Big. That's he at his best. He loves that curl. Quick catch in your face. Big thing right now, you got to get a high percentage shot. There's your switch.
Reggie, 10 on the shot. O'Neal underneath, out of bounds it goes. It's going to be Indiana, but the shot clock is at 5 and the game clock's at 33.8.
That baseline with Prince on the left side, and right there you can see Hamilton coming off strong and then making that curl move. On a dime and knocking down that short jump shot.
27 points tonight, 11 out of 14, 4 of 6. Inbounding from the corner, Johnson. O'Neal gets it back. Reggie has it blocked. It was blocked.
Big block.
And then they have to foul Billups.
Terrific. Now just watch the extension right there.
Ben Wallace.
Great play by Ben Wallace, who just continues to come up with all of the key defensive, either rebounds, the blocks, good stuff.
He's 23 feet out for the block.
Billups. And the pressure is on. This young man just calmly sinks a very high percentage.
And that's 7 points, 3 possession game, 23 for him, 49 for the backcourt of Hamilton and Billups.
They're looking for Reggie.
There goes Reggie, launching a three. Can't get that one. Hamilton gets the rebound, and Foster ties him up for the foul. 15.7, and the crowd right now sensing the end of the series and already beginning right now the chant, the applause, and right now it's all about the end of a career in this building. And for Detroit, it's all about a vacation. Well, not a vacation. They're going to Florida. Not on a vacation, but they're going to Florida. Prince with a hug of Miller. Hamilton putting the frosting on the cake. Larry Bird has watched his team, I mean, all things considered, play unbelievably magnificently. And Carlisle's going to take Reggie out of the game to let him get the ovation and the acknowledgement. And even Larry Brown comes out to all the way down the court. Larry takes a 20 just to let the crowd. You know how that is so cool.
Yes, it is.
Larry Brown, who coached Reggie, but Larry is so human. He understands if you let play resume, you know, the crowd is back into it, the game winds up, and Larry calls a timeout so he can bring his team to the other side of the court and join in this. Very, very cool.
Well, what it is great respect by his peers, great respect by the opposition, a classy move by Larry Brown, and then the warm. He's been so humble. He's accomplished so much here as a player. You can't even begin to talk about big shots because the list is so long. And then how to work the man that he did within the community. They love him here because he was part of the community, not just a player here for 18 years.
Johnson misses, and Detroit will run the clock out. They'll go to Miami. Pacers season is over. Reggie Miller's career is over. Larry Brown coached Reggie. You saw Joe Dumars before. Played against Reggie. Went all the way back. The Reggie chant again at Conseco. That's a career. And even Bennett Sound, even the officials, I mean, everybody.
It's a total respect.
And it ends in the playoff game. And in the game where Detroit wins the series.
Carry it, man, and do it for as long as you can. You are the truth, for real, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all. Hamilton to remember those words forever. You know, you do it for as long as you can. Here's Michelle.
Well, all right, guys, I'm here. I don't want to interrupt Reggie too much. I don't even know where to begin. What is going through your mind right now?
Well, you know, we gave it a valid effort. You know, I thought this was going to be our game if we could have put some pressure on them, which we did early, but unfortunately, you know, the chance rose to the occasion, and that's what they're all about. They played hard, and they outplayed us in this series, so you got to tip their hats to them.
Tell me what that moment was like when Rick Carlisle called the timeout so this crowd could acknowledge you.
Well, you know, I feel we have the best fans in the world, and for 18 years, this has been my second home, and they've truly supported me, and as you can see with no one leaving, it really shows how great of fans and what a city this has been. I've grown up here. You know, I poured my heart and guts here. You know, it's a class organization here.
I saw Jermaine O'Neal sitting on the bench, so disappointed. What are you going to say to your teammates in that locker room?
Thank you. You know, obviously my skills haven't been the same for the last 4 or 5 years. You know, I'm honored that they let me play with them for the last 4 or 5 years, because truly I could have retired 3 or 4 years ago, but they let me play with them.
Let you? My goodness, tonight you practically carried him. And this crowd right now, Reggie, you hear him one more year. Have you ever even reconsidered?
No. It's been a great ride, and unfortunately it's time to move on to different ventures.
And those might include?
Probably hanging with you for a little bit, but right now I'm just going to rest and sit back, reflect, and go on from there.
Reggie, enjoy the downtime.
Michelle, thank you so much.
We wanted to see you continue.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Al?
Oh, thank you, Michelle. Hubie, final thoughts about the man?
One of the greatest shooters ever to put on sneakers. The more the pressure, the higher percentage he shot. Everyone will go back to the New York games where the one night 25 points in the fourth quarter, but it's only one of many magical moments that he has had here, especially in this building. You just cannot count how many big shots that he made. But I just love the way he carried himself as a person on and off the court. He had perfect balance in his life.